Hey, I hope you're all doing well. Just before this whole run starts, I just want to say to keep a really close eye on that super bar. That's one of the unique things that this build is doing in particular, among other things, but the super regen is really something that's quite impressive, at least for a warlock build that does something kind of niche and not traditional. This is going to be one of the builds coming out in a build video that I'm planning on doing soon, which is, it was originally going to be a rift build, or the kind of many ways that you can make rifts really aggressive, and using them to suspend, blind, freeze, and in this case scorch. Although this one is a little bit of an imposter in that it doesn't use rifts, it uses Phoenix Dive. But it has the very similar gameplay to the rest of the builds that are going to be inside of that video. And it just does something so cool where I looked at it and I just thought, I can't not have this inside of the video. It's it's too cool. And the only thing I will say is that don't expect to see kind of many of the builds that I'm going to showcase in that video as solo runs. I really want to keep the surprise of these ones a little high because I think they're things that you probably wouldn't have seen before, and that's one thing that I dislike about doing these solo runs with new builds is that one, it's really nice that my channel doesn't just become a complete ghost town. I'm very aware that my upload schedule is not that of your typical Destiny YouTuber, but yeah, I really just want these to be something that I take my time with and really kind of put a lot of elbow grease into and make sure that they're refined and polished. And, you know, I also, I don't kind of want to spoil my own ideas. And yeah, I want you to see these builds in the best light, which I think is always going to be those properly, fully edited videos. And yeah, this one's going to be a big video. To kind of put into context where I'm at the minute with it, I'm about 1.5 builds through on my script, and it's currently 10 pages, about 4,000 words, and there's another 3 builds, maybe 4, kind of depends if I can work out the kinks on one of them, but yeah, it's gonna it's absolutely stonking massive. That said, I'm doing, at least I think, a decent job in making it really maneuverable so that all of the builds are segmented into really kind of clear ways so that you can move around the video quite well. It's definitely going to be one where there's no expectation to watch the entire thing all the way through, but if you want to, you're going to walk away with, again, 5 definitely, the 6th build maybe, but some seriously cool warlock builds, and they all feel so different to many of the ways that you would have played warlock in the past, in that you kind of just like cannonball yourself into enemies, and then you just paint a little circle on the ground, and then you just start like laying into them with all of your weapons. I have to say, Praxic Blade is something that I've really been enjoying. I haven't actually used Praxic Blade that much up until these Rift videos because the Sage Protector armor set is so good at enabling so many of these builds. Warlock, for a really weird reason, has a lot of interaction between its grenade and class abilities, like noticeably more than what Hunters and Titans have. And this build is really using Sage Protectors 2 and 4-piece, to the point where I'm not actually recommending any other armor sets, just those, because how impactful they are in every single one of these builds. All of the runs that or at least the runs that you will see inside of that build video, they all use this armor set. It's so cool in that you just absolutely spam all of your abilities. There is one prismatic version of a build that uses Spirit of Inmost Light, and that alongside the Sage Protector 4, I kid you not, you cannot cast abilities fast enough. They are just they're endless. They're absolutely endless. It's one of the funniest things to just watch happen. And again, really, untraditional for Warlock. It feels very Warlock in that it's super space magic-y, a lot of ability casting and stuff like that, but also very hunterish in how much spam you are able to kind of pull out of all of these builds, which is great because the reason why I main Hunter is for their ability spam. That's the thing that I absolutely love about Hunters, and this very much taps into that feeling. So yeah, it's one that I think Warlocks will like for how different these builds are. One of the reasons I was skeptical about putting this build into that build video, it's definitely going to be in there, but it's that it's using Starfire Protocol, and with a lot of the builds that I like to put on my channel, I normally want them to be using things that are quite different, things that you won't see all that often. I like doing that just because I think then it adds value to the videos that I make, in that you can watch them and you know that you're going to get something different. In fact, one thing that I'll do before I actually start making build videos is look on YouTube, and if a build has been talked about or done a lot already, I'll just completely skip over the idea, just because, you know, at that point, am I putting anything fresh in a player's hand? The answer would be no, so kind of, what's the point of it? I could put my own take on it, but at the end of the day, you know, fresh, interesting builds are what I want to bring people, and yeah, I don't really see the point in covering what has already been done. That said, I think the way that you use Starfire in this build, as you've been seeing, is very not traditional. It's very much got my my like niche spin on it, or at least I hope my niche spin on it. I hope that's something that I'm known for now. But yeah, it's got that kind of flashiness and ability spam, which I really, really enjoy. So yeah, I'm okay doing it because it really pushes Starfire as an exotic. If you've been keeping an eye on, again, like I said at the start, that super bar, but then also that class ability bar, you'll see that there are some really consistent ways of cheating out Phoenix dives, which in turn through your mod setup is going to give you a lot of supers, and those supers then just become like ridiculously spammy, just become a big part of the build. I have actually managed to, from using Heat Riser's Phoenix dives and then Starfire Protocol's ability to get class ability refreshes, I have actually managed to chain 4 Phoenix dives in a row, which I know that kind of sounds unimpressive. It's like, oh, 4 Phoenix dives in a row, but with the mod setup, that's going to make 48% of a super. So when you can do that, it's hilarious to watch that bar go. Again, this has very much got like my weirdness spin on it, so I hope that's something that that you Warlocks are going to like, because I know this is probably the build on the list that I have enjoyed using the most. Probably not the most powerful. I think the one that takes that is, honestly, I think probably Arc. I'm amazed at how strong that was and how consistently it was able to clear stuff. But yeah, this is absolutely a very strong build, and one which is really fun to use as well. Just like relentlessly aggressive for enemies, and plays in, I'd say, probably quite a different way to how Solar Warlocks might normally play, in that, you know, this like in-your-face gameplay is stuff that you don't necessarily see all that much. But Praxic Blade and the, what's it called? Hyperblade, being able to give you amplified times 2, amplified alongside restoration times 2, just that 15% DR, and the ability to be a little bit more slippy because enemies are less accurate shooting you, makes the world of difference in keeping you healthy. It's insane that just those 2 little things that Amplify gives just make you and your survivability and being able to get into the fray of fights just so much better, especially here. I'd say for this build more than any other, it really enjoys using Praxic Blade's Hyperblade more than any of the others. Although, then again, Hyperblade isn't something that I took off in any of the other builds, because my favourite combos for every single one of the builds that I will cover in that video is you just block with Hyperblade and just like rocket yourself into a group of enemies and then just drop a rift. A lot of the time those rifts are doing crowd control debuffs, so there's literally nothing they can do to stop you. Like, you're going in and you've got amplified's DR and they're less accurate, and you're just you're just there, and you've either like suspended things or you've like frozen them or blinded them. And yeah, it's really cool. I have to say, these builds for Warlock are probably up there in fun factor for the Incinerator Snap build, which I thought was going to be a hard one to top. That is still my favourite Warlock build. I haven't found anything that quite feels that good to use on Warlock, but... or at least that good and niche on Warlock. But yeah, these ones really do feel quite fun. Again, very non-traditional playstyles for Warlocks, which I hope you guys, or you Warlock mains, enjoy. And if you are not a Warlock main, but you are someone like a Titan or a Hunter who really enjoys those aggressive playstyles, this might kind of scratch that itch and open up a different class for you to use. I know certainly one of the things that I like doing with just all of my builds in general is being aggressive, so being able to do that on Warlock is quite nice. It's something I've really enjoyed. Yeah, I've kind of been waffling and not really talking about the build all that much. Starfire Protocol, Touch of Flame, and Heat Risers. Heat Risers is how we're applying Scorch with Phoenix Dive, and then with Ashes, that Scorch goes up to 60. And then along the Fusion Grenades, which we can spam so much thanks to Starfire's ability regen on grenades, and then also Sage Protector's 2 and 4 piece, which again hits grenade energy. And then specifically here, whenever we get grenade final blows, that refunds our class energy. So you just get to spam a lot of stuff. One of the really nice things with this build as well is that its ability to tap into Restoration ×2 is so good. Whenever you eat a grenade, that gives you Heat Rise. Yeah, that gives you Heat Risers. And then whenever you Phoenix Dive, you get Restoration, which in this build is going to be 5 seconds of Restoration because we've got Ember of Solace. But if you ever run out of Restoration, like you're not able to keep the chain going with Imperium, literally all you have to do is get a Fusion Grenade kill, or just block really quickly and then get Sage Protector's 4-piece procced, and then you're literally guaranteed to have both a grenade and a class bag, and then you can just do that exact same thing. It's one of the few builds where if I wasn't able to keep an Imperium chain going, it is so insanely easy to just get back Restoration. And yeah, there's a few other things going on. The only aspect I'd say to not run in this build is Helion, because it kind of steals Scorch away from Praxic. So yeah, don't use that. Sorry, Song of Flame, Phoenix Dive, Incinerator Snap, Fusion Grenade, Heat Risers, and Touch of Flame. Torches, Ashes, Empyrean, and Solace. Torches there is for Radiant, so that we have something for Starfire to proc, and then that's just Hyperblade Impact Core. I forgot to put an Impact mod on my Praxic Blade, which was kind of stupid, but oh well. And then, yeah, there's Starfire. The one really nice thing with your mods here is that Starfire, no matter what your class stat is always 100% fixed class ability, so you can dump that down to 0. It's literally a dump stat, and is also somehow a class ability build. And then here's your mod setup. The important thing being double dynamo, triple distribution, which gives you that 12% super and using a class. And then there is the seasonal mods. The important one being Swordstorm combo, as the hits from that count as sword hits for Sage Protector. Anyway, that's about it from me. See ya!